Hi guys, this is me, your teacher, Mandy Willoughby. I'm here to discuss Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock. I'm sitting outside, so you're going to hear some birds, maybe some cars go by. Hopefully, it doesn't pick up the wind too much, but let's get started. So, Rear Window was actually called It Had to Be Murder. This was a short story written by Cornwell Woolrich. He wrote it in a crime detective magazine. 10 cents. Can you believe it? It only cost 10 cents to buy this magazine in 1942. Cornwell got his idea after being spied on by two little girls while he was living in an apartment in New York. Hitchcock, though, added to the story by using two uh, real murders. Patrick Mahon. No, that's Patrick Mahone. That's a quarterback. Patrick Mahon. There we go. Let's just get that straight, okay, guys? As far as we know, Patrick Mahone has not killed anyone. Um, this is Patrick Mahone's murder rap sheet. Patrick Mahon killed a girl, chopped her up, and burned her head in a fireplace. Dr. Crippen, who murdered his wife, told people she had moved and was tripped up when he allowed his secretary mistress to wear some of his wife's jewelry. And this is his rap sheet. All right, your basic plot. Hitchcock has a unique basic plot for most of his movies. So here we have Jeffries, our photographer, confined to a wheelchair in Greenwich Village apartment complex after a job accident. Nickname is Jeff. Stella, she is our insurance nurse. Lisa Fremont, who's going to be our cool blonde, works in the fashion industry. And you will notice if you watch more and more Hitchcock films, he loved blondes. I have to think back. I'm not really sure. Surely there's a brunette in there, but his common, most well known movies, his females are all blondes. Sorry, brunettes and redheads. Then you have your other apartment owners, and Hitchcock named them uh, depending on their character or lifestyle. So, example would be Miss Torso would be the ballerina that's directly across from Jeff's apartment. You also might hear Micah playing video games. His window is open, and I'm sitting in the backyard. So if you hear him giggling or laughing, just try to ignore that too. And then you have Lars Thorwald. Lars Thorwald would be our murderer. Sorry. So you have suspense. You have a love um, aspect. You have your cool blonde. You have humor with Stella. You have your murderer, and you have your hero. And when you mix all that up, that is what this called Hitchcock 101. And our point of view for the movie is going to be Jeff's point of view from his rear window. Um, and in this segment, Hitchcock has a style of his own. And this first clip I'm going to show is there's no dialogue whatsoever. It's in the very beginning of the movie, and you get so much information just by panning the apartment complex and who lives in them and the painting of Jeff's apartment. Nope, too far. Here we go. So out the back window of Jeff's apartment, I love how Hitchcock shows you just how hot it is.
Are you over 40? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel tired and run down? Do you have that listless feeling?
There's Miss Torso. She was actually a real ballerina. Oh, sorry about that. Hang on, let me see if I can get that to play. My Chick-fil-A cup um, fell over. Let's see. That's good. Okay. And then in this next clip, this is going to be the ending scene where Lars is in Jeff's apartment, and Jeff is using the flashes um, from his camera. What? Well, let's just play it. Well, no, I'll tell you first. The camera flashes in the end of the movie were actually recreated from personal experience. Several crew members went into a dark room while someone else made the camera flashes. They reported their experiences and recreated the bright and expanding orange circles. If anyone has like a Polaroid camera, and you have those, parents will remember this. The flashes. I remember you could only have like 6 flashes, and then you'd have to put in a new cartridge. If anybody has any of those, I would really be interested to see a video of you in a dark room using those. That would be really cool. I'd give you extra credit for anybody who wanted to do that.
What do you want from me? Your friend, the girl, could have turned me in. Why didn't she? What is it you want? A lot of money? I don't have any money. Say something. Say something. Tell me what you want. Can you get me that ring back? No. Tell her to bring it back. I can't. The police have it by now.
Just very well done. Very well done. Okay, here I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of the camera, the crane that Hitchcock used. This is shooting right out of Jeff's apartment. You can see how long it is. I mean, that's just to get those close up shots on this kind of soundstage. Um, they were going to shoot on location in Greenwich Village, but decided to just recreate it on a soundstage. And Hitchcock sent 4 photographers to shoot from all angles, under all weather and lighting conditions, to make sure that what they recreated was very realistic. When I first saw this movie, I thought it was on location, so it's well done. These 30 apartments, there's actually 30 apartments. 12 of them have running water and electricity that could be lived in. And Miss Torso, this was her apartment right here, she actually did live in hers for a month while she was shooting her scenes. In order to get the scale right in the sound stage, they removed the former storage space in the basement. They removed all the flooring, they emptied out all the storage, and what they did is they used that part of the sound stage as the courtyard. So, if you can follow this, that would mean that Stewart's apartment, which appears to be on the second floor, was really on street level. When you would walk out of the studio, his apartment is street level. Okay, so the set was such a marvel that visitors to the studio were eager to see it, and it was featured in a magazine spread while they were shooting this film. Because the lighting setups were always on for various times of the day, it actually set off the sprinkler system. It got so hot in there. And Hitchcock calmly told an assistant to bring him an umbrella and let him know when the rain stopped. All right, Alfred Hitchcock himself had lost 150 pounds before shooting this film. He had just finished a production on Dial M for Murder, which also includes Grace Kelly. And did anyone catch where Alfred made his cameo appearance in this, in Rear Window? It was in the scene where he comes into the musician's apartment and winds the clock. James Stewart has 4 movies with Hitchcock. Um, he's an easygoing person, and he's quoted to say that Hitchcock liked him and that the two of them were able to just glance at each other when a scene wasn't going right, and Stewart knew exactly what Hitchcock meant and what Hitchcock wanted him to do. However, rumor was that he had a huge, whopping ego, that Alfred Hitchcock had a huge ego. Um, Grace Kelly, there we go. James Stewart is quoted to say that everybody just sat around and waited for her to come in the morning so he could just look at her. She was kind to everybody, considerate, and very beautiful. Unquote. Grace Kelly was indeed known for her beauty, but she was also known to have affairs with her leading men. And James Stewart's wife did not want him to do this film with Grace Kelly. And as far as we know, they did not have an affair with each other. But Grace is quoted to say that she found Stewart to be one of the most masculine, attractive men she had ever met. Grace only made 3 movies with Hitchcock. She later married Prince Rainier of Monaco and therefore became a real princess. After she married, she retired from the movie business. All right, Thelma Ritter. She is our comedic relief in this film. She's known for her sarcasm, and she is quoted to say that Hitchcock never told you if he liked what you did in a scene, and if he didn't like it, he looked like he was going to throw up. That's horrible. Raymond Burr. Hitchcock had Raymond made up in short, curly white hair and glasses, costumed in white button down shirts, and depicted as a heavy smoker. He did all of this to evoke, get away, sorry, I have a wasp by me, to evoke his rival, David O. Selznick. You might, I know parents would probably know this, David O. Selznick is better known for um, Gone with the Wind. He looks like Hitchcock's Lars Thorwald. I mean, he really does. Raymond Burr later becomes really famous for a TV series called Perry Mason, where he's a lawyer. It's like, I can't remember, I think it was an hour. series. So those are really good. Okay, here is a Alfred Hitchcock Presents. This was a TV series on CBS in the mid 50s. This is just the intro. That profile is known around the world to be Alfred Hitchcock. Okay, then you have this funny little. Nope, same thing. Hang on. Here we go. You all know who this profile is. Of course, it's Homer Simpson. Sorry, I have a real loud bird behind me.
Good evening.
Okay, now that phrase right there is also an iconic phrase that Alfred Hitchcock uses. Now, this is a Alfred Hitchcock hour. This is in the 60s. You're going to notice that it's the same music, but it's slowed down and it gives it a more kind of a spooky feel to it.
Good evening.
And of course, I'm going to show you a little cartoon clip. I love the Flintstones. If you notice, it says Alfred Brickrock. And this is very much like the Rear Window. Fred Flintstone sees things happening out of his bedroom window. But this is just a small, I think this is the ending clip of it.
Your suspicions are correct. The story had a happy ending. Science was indeed astounded by my discovery of a living man-eater, which can be trained to eat wives too, if necessary. Chirp for the people. Please forgive its toothy grin. It acts just like a canary that ate the pussycat. Good evening.
All right, and here Hitchcock himself is going to discuss what a MacGuffin is. There's another lady in here that talks too, but you're going to hear words straight from him as well. MacGuffin is a phrase coined by Hitchcock that he uses, but this is going to explain what it is, and you're going to be like, "Oh, I get it now, I understand," and then you're actually going to start seeing MacGuffins as you go to the movie. Not right. Let's go back. There we go. Give me my little icon. Here we go. There we go. Now it's going to play.
We must have a talk about the MacGuffin.
It's in almost every movie, but no one bothers to explain why it's there. You might not pay it much attention. It's the briefcase from Pulp Fiction, the Tesseract from The Avengers, and Monty Python's Holy Grail. So, what's a MacGuffin? The MacGuffin is a term coined by Alfred Hitchcock for a classic plot device. It's an object or objective driving the action of a movie, which by Act 3 fades in importance. The thing itself doesn't mean much to the audience, but it matters greatly to the characters within the story.
It's always called the thing that the characters on the screen worry about, but the audience don't care.
Even before Hitchcock named it, the plot device was a cornerstone of dramatic storytelling, with the Maltese Falcon from 1941 probably being the most iconic. In Hitchcock's Psycho, the MacGuffin is the $40,000 that Marion Crane steals from her boss. leading her to run away and check in for her ill-fated stay at the Bates Motel.
I forgot to mention there is an image here of Norman Bates' mother holding the knife. So if you have anyone who is sensitive to those images, just have them look away, or it doesn't actually show the murder. It's just that particular image. Oh, poo. Bear with me, guys. This is normal for my students, but for parents, this might be new. All right, how far was I, guys? Criminy. Nothing new here, right?
We must have a
crazy
talk
Mandy
about
stuff.
the MacGuffin.
At the Bates Motel.
There we go.
The money was the catalyst for the early events of the film, but by the time Marion's killed, not even halfway through the story, we have other things on our minds, like homicidal creeps who dress up as their mothers, and the MacGuffin, the $40,000, seems almost irrelevant. Hitchcock first popularized the term MacGuffin with his 1935 film The 39 Steps, which is about an innocent man who gets caught up in the world of British military secrets surrounding the mysterious 39 Steps. Even most of the film's characters don't know what the 39 Steps means. They and the audience just know that it's important. Other MacGuffins in Hitchcock films include the government secrets in North by Northwest, the uranium sand hidden in the wine bottles in Notorious, Harry's true cause of death in The Trouble with Harry, and the mysterious reason that the birds are attacking in The Birds.
So a MacGuffin you see in most films about spies. It is a thing that the spies are after.
Outside of Hitchcock, some examples of pure MacGuffins, the kind that Hitchcock would approve of, include the letters of transit that the characters seek in Casablanca, the unobtainium the government wants in Avatar, and the rabbit's foot the arms dealer pursues in Mission Impossible 3. In Hitchcock's view, the best MacGuffin is as vague and almost meaningless as possible. But in the years since Hitchcock, some have reinterpreted the MacGuffin. George Lucas has said he considers R2-D2, or more specifically the Death Star plans that R2-D2 has, a MacGuffin. The modern MacGuffin, as described by Lucas, works better when it's so powerful that the audience cares about it almost as much as the characters on screen. This way we get wrapped up in the character's quest, even though in the end, the MacGuffin still turns out to be a plot driver that wasn't ultimately of the most central importance to the heart of the story. Even characters can be MacGuffins. Apocalypse Now's Colonel Kurtz, Saving Private Ryan's Private Ryan, and The Third Man's Harry Lime are all people who exist off-screen for the first acts of the film as ideas that drive the plot. When we meet each of these characters, the idea we had is undermined, and our focus shifts to a larger mission or new objective. Between the Hitchcock camp and the Lucas camp, the modern understanding of the MacGuffin is so complex that it can be debatable whether the label fits. Think the Sorcerer's Stone in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is arguably a true MacGuffin, because it could be replaced by another plot driver, and our investment in the story would still be the same. The One Ring in Lord of the Rings is also sometimes called a MacGuffin, as it drives the plot and motivates the characters. But the ring carries solid importance throughout the story. We care very much whether it's destroyed, so it could be too important to be a MacGuffin. Rosebud in Citizen Kane can be called a MacGuffin because the mystery of what Rosebud means is the big question driving the story. In the end, it's far from unimportant. The symbol of Kane's lost childhood is a crucial thematic reveal, but its significance shifts from what we previously thought. All of these supposed MacGuffins are important to the audience, and thus don't fit perfectly into Hitchcock's definition. But like a traditional MacGuffin, they drive the plot into the third act, when the primary focus of the story changes. On a narrative level, a good MacGuffin keeps us grounded in the immediate action of the story. On a deeper level, the unimportance of the MacGuffin reminds us to shift our focus, in life as in the movie, away from small particulars to a wider view. When watching a film, most viewers care more about the big picture than the little nothings or details, the MacGuffins. But our day-to-day lives revolve around preoccupations that at the time seem momentous, like stressful conversations, commuting, finances. Symbolically, the triviality of a MacGuffin represents to us that, like life imitating art, we spend a great deal of our time worrying about the wrong things. So where does the name MacGuffin come from? Fittingly, the word's origin is itself kind of a MacGuffin, because it has no intrinsic meaning. It's a placeholder. What matters is its function, giving the characters purpose and driving the story. Without the MacGuffin, or whatever you call it, the most beloved plots in movies would never exist.
He said, well, what is a MacGuffin? He said, well, it's an apparatus for trapping lions in the Scottish Highlands. Man said, but there are no lions in the Scottish Highlands. He said, then that's no MacGuffin.
Thank you for clearing that up for us.
So, a MacGuffin. Now that you go to the movies, you might be able to identify what a MacGuffin is at this point. Our time frame right now, we're dealing with the coronavirus, of course. After we get through this, we might be able to identify the virus as our current day MacGuffin. That would be interesting to see how this is all going to play out. Our next one is Alfred Hitchcock utilizing materials to the fullest. This is a lot of Hitchcock talking. This is great, great stuff, y'all.
It's merely a basic matter of utilizing your materials to the fullest dramatic extent. For example, in the picture Rear Window, Cary Grant is a photographer.
He totally says the wrong person.
Naturally, he fends off his attacker with the use of photographic materials, such as a flashlight.
You should have said James
That's
Stewart, not Cary Grant.
It's indigenous to him, but I always, as far as I possibly can, insist on using those elements that belong to the character and involve them in the action of the story. For example, in the picture North by Northwest, Cary Grant is trapped in an auction room. He can't get out except by one way, and that's bidding. Crazy bidding, you see. So he gets himself thrown out. But the essential point is, he is in an auction room. And you must use the auction room. Now, in the same film, there was a final sequence on the faces in Mount Rushmore. Well, there, due to the objections of the government, we weren't allowed to have any of the figures move over the faces. We were told very definitely that you could only have the figures down between the heads, because they said this is the shrine of democracy. What I wanted to do, was prevented from doing, in the same line of thinking, is to have Cary Grant slide down Lincoln's nose, then hide in the nostril, and then Cary Grant have a sneezing fit. Not Lincoln, Grant. Well, there's a typical example of utilizing your materials to the fullest.
That's great. North by Northwest. That is a great, great movie. Let me know if you watch the North by Northwest. I will give you extra credit for that. That is Cary Grant. And that is all I have. This is just all the works cited that is in this video. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your parents enjoyed it. Whoops, sorry, I'm scrolling. And I will have a new video soon.